Hey everybody, got another video here for you. I'm working on guitar number 12, and this is going to be episode 2 of the build. In the first episode, I covered what the battle plan was. It's going to be all mahogany, Steinberger no head, shredder thing but 2 pickups. And here in episode 2, it's all about blueprints. This is the blueprint for the guitar. You start out by striking your center line, and then I'm going to be using the 40 by 90 triangular heel, which I've come up with from experimentation. So you draw that in. Then, like I said in the previous episode, I was waiting for the bridge. It's 82 by 80, but you can call it 80 by 80 if you want. So, the critical distance in all of this is how far from the end of the neck to the saddle line here. And the way you figure that out, hold on. So the distance from the end of the neck here to the saddle line, it's easy to figure out. It's basically it's the length of the neck minus, or the scale length minus the length of the neck, and that's all you need. But you have to take two things into account. Number one, the overhang. So the easiest way to measure this, because of the fact that, this is down here and your nut line is all the way up here, the easiest way to measure this is you measure the length of the fingerboard, and then you measure the amount of overhang and subtract the overhang, and that gives you the length of the neck from the nut line. And then you take that number, which is your length of the neck, and you subtract it from the scale length, and that tells you how far from the end of the neck to the saddle. Then, the second thing you have to take into account, hold on. So here's the second thing you have to take into account. Here's the saddle back here, but up here is where the front of the bracket is. So you just measure the distance from there to there and make sure that you take that into account when you're figuring out where your notch goes. You'll notice that the notch here is actually a little deeper than the saddle line. Turns out this is 12 millimeters on one of these units. So that tells you where your bridge goes, which is right there. And that also tells you where your neck goes, which is right there. And then you measure the pickups, you can draw them in, and then all that's left is the switches. You'll see a number of lines here where I kept having to add more space for the switches, and these big dark circles are where the switches will go. And that's pretty much it. And once you figured out, enough space for the switches, I tried to leave about 10 mil all the way around. And once you figured out where the switches go, then it was just a matter of, make this thing 50 wide so that I can accommodate these two switches. And it's got to come out at least to here for the kill button. And then just connect the dots, and there it is. So really not that much to it. And from this, I can, I've got the length of my body blank now, and I've got the width of my body blank, and I know where to strike my center line on the body blank, and I can just, mark these points out again on the body blank and then cut it. And away we go. But I'm actually going to do the neck first. Hold on a sec. As you can see, I've got everything here ready to go in order to start thicknessing the neck. When I do a build, I like to do the neck first. So I'm going to go ahead, now that I've got my blueprint and know what's up with the body, I got my wood, so that's it's just going through the motions on that thing. So I can go ahead and start on my neck now, and I've got everything I need going forward from there. So that's what I'll be doing next. But I think that I'm just going to try to keep them short, and that'll do it for this episode. So in the next episode, I'll get to modding the neck. So until then, until the next one, everybody have a good one. And we'll do some B-roll here.